Hello, welcome back. So we are going to start with the basics of probability. Now, probability it's a study of likelihood of something happening, and this is very important for things where you need to predict stuff, like maybe you need to predict the weather, what is the likelihood of raining or not raining, etc. Now, the very basic formula of probability is the following. It's that probability of an event occurring is basically the number of samples, or the number of samples where that event is satisfied, or in other words, the favorable outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So let me give you an example. Let's say there's a bucket and there are a few yellow balls, few, let's say, blue balls, and few purple balls, and they're all randomly mixed together, and there's a person who, without looking, puts his hand out there and he picks a ball. So we see that first of all there are 5 blues, 3 yellows, and 2 purple balls. And so if we look at them relatively, 5/10 of the whole sample is blue, 3/10 of the whole sample is yellow, and 2/10 of the whole sample is purple. So if I want to find the likelihood of the person picking a blue ball, if you have this entire sample and half of that sample is blue, or what you want, then there's a 50% chance that you will get a blue ball, simply because half of the entire sample is blue. So if you're putting your hand randomly out there, there's a 50% chance of getting a blue ball. In other words, the probability is 0.5, right? And by the same logic, the probability of yellow would be 3/10 or 0.3, and the probability of purple would be 0.2. Right, one thing to notice here is that if I add all of these up, the probability becomes 1. The reason being that the probability of 1 basically means that this has to happen, right? So if you're putting your hand out there, it has to be the case that either you get a blue or yellow or a purple. It cannot be anything else besides that, right? If I ask you what is the probability of me getting a, let's say, green ball, it's 0, because there are no green balls in the sample. It's 0/10, which is just 0, right? So what I did here is basically something that is called the addition law. Here I said that the probability of getting a blue or a yellow or a purple is 1, right? And we would do this by the same logic of this formula over here, right? If I ask you what is the probability of blue or yellow, well, the favorable outcomes are either you choose this or you choose this. In other words, the favorable outcomes are 8, total number of outcomes are 10, and so this would equal to 0.8, right? This is the addition law. Now let's try to draw something that's called a tree diagram. I start from this and I stick out three lines from it. And at end of each lines, I write the outcome I am talking about. So let's say this is blue, this is yellow, and this is yellow, and this is purple. And in under this, what you could say, the branch or the line, you would write the probability of it happening. So probability of blue would be 5/10, this would be 3/10, this would be 2/10, right? And I have stopped here. That means this is the first trial. This is the first time I put my hand out there and I take out a ball, right? And these are all the possible outcomes. Now let's say I take out a ball, right, and I set it aside, and then I put my hand out there again. And so what the situation I'm talking about is basically without replacement. And without replacement, your probability would change, simply because after each trial there is one less ball. So let's concentrate on this branch for the time being. Let's say I get a blue ball, right? After I get a blue ball, and then I am carrying out the experiment a second time. I take out a blue ball, I set it aside. Now there are three possibilities. Either I get a blue ball again, or I get a yellow, or I get a purple. Right, so there are two purple balls out of 10, there are three yellow balls out of 10, and now, sorry, out of 9, and there are four blue balls out of 9, right? Because one blue ball I took out and then I set it aside. Let's do the same for yellow. Blue, yellow, purple. Blue would be 5 over 9, yellow would be 2 over 9, purple would be 2 over 9. If I do the same for purple over here, I know this is getting messy, but anyways, so blue, yellow, purple, this would be 5 over 9, 3 over 9, and 1 over 9. Right, when you're actually drawing it, you would draw it in a straight line, but I didn't have the space. Now if I do the same thing, sorry, I should write this over here, without replacement. If I do the same thing but with replacement, what I would be doing is I take out a ball. So 1, 2, 3 possibilities, either blue, yellow, purple, 5 tenths, 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Now with the meaning of with replacement is that I take out a ball, I check its color, and then I put it back. So because I put it back, my probability will still not change. So let's say I get a blue and then I put that ball back, and then I take out another ball. The probability of getting a ball, the blue ball, will still be 5 over 10, because now there are 5 balls and total 10 balls, right? And you could do the same for yellow and purple. This would be 3 over 10, 2 over 10, and so on for these two too, right? So this is a situation with replacement, and this was without replacement. Right, so one thing we discussed was that if you are moving within the branches, that is, if you're going, if you're moving from branch to branch, that is, you're going vertically, you apply the addition law. That is, you add these two. So if you're going vertically over here, this basically means the probability of getting a blue or a yellow would be 5 over 10 plus, okay, let me write over here, 5 over 10 plus a 3 over 10, which is 8 over 10. Right, whenever we say or, it basically means that we're satisfied with getting either a blue or a yellow. So in other words, we are moving vertically between the branches. Now let's say I ask you what is the probability of, and this, by the way, I was talking about the first trial, as in I put my hand out there and I just pick out one ball, and I am asking the likelihood of getting either these two. Now let's say within this situation, let's say I take out a ball, I set it aside, and then I take out another ball. So, and the question is, what is the probability of first getting, let's say, a blue and then getting a yellow, right? So if first blue and then yellow, now first blue is easy. First blue just means 5/10 of the sample, right? 5/10 of the sample. Now first blue then yellow basically means you're going along this path, right? You're going along this path. Now if you focus on this portion, you will notice that within this portion of the tree, 3/9 of the sample is yellow, right? So if you take your certain sample, you look at 5/10 of it, and then you look at 3/9 of it, that is the blue and then yellow part. So 5/10 multiplied by 3/9 will be the probability of first getting a blue and then a yellow, right? So this is the multiplication law, that if you are moving through the branches, then you multiply. So probability of getting a yellow and then a purple would be 3/10 multiplied by 2/9. Right, so here if I say what is the probability of getting a blue and a yellow, this could be either first blue and then yellow, or this could be first yellow and then blue. In other words, 5/10 multiplied by 3/9 plus 3 tenths multiplied by 5 9, right, which is basically the same as 2 times 5 tenths into 3 nines, and you could get the answers whatever, right. So this was the multiplication law, and that's it for today.